business minds and thought leaders share the secrets to success. Welcome to Call Me Successful.
Alex Jordan, hello.
Hi. Thank you, mate.
Thanks for coming in. I know your time is very precious, so we are very appreciative of you coming in.
Oh, pleasure. Happy to be with you.
I think today we've got a few things to discuss, and you've obviously been in real estate quite some time, and you've got an amazing story. One of triumph, I suppose, and I've seen a lot of your stuff where, you know, obviously over a decade at Remax. John McGrath speaks so highly of you at the Apollo conference the other day, and he said some amazing words. For me, I would love to get straight into it in terms of what success for you is. Like, how would you define success, if we could start there?
That's a deep question.
It is, straight away.
To start with, because I think for different people, the definition of success will have a different meaning. My definition of success might not align with others, and that's something that I probably will evolve and change with. Today, if I had to define success, it's how strong are the relationships you have with people around you. For me, someone who's successful has good friendship network, good community network and connections, strong relationships with their family, whether it's siblings, brothers, sisters, parents, children. You know, that is what I would define as a successful person. Strong relationships with people, has the support of others. If they're down, they'll be picked up. So there's people that would pick them up, and that's because of what they've done for others. So they've given enough to others to justify and warrant their support when they need it. That for me is an element of success in my world. There's other definitions of success, I think, if you look at it from a business point of view, from a career point of view. And that can vary too, depending on who you ask. I mean, for me, it's if you can provide a good life for your family, for your children, you have a home that's comfortable, safe, an environment that's loving, you can provide to them with good education, you know, all their needs are met. For me, that's a successful person. I don't think you have to reach, you know, career heights and be the best at something to be considered successful, because sometimes that definition for me is misguided. And that's just through observation. I've met a lot of people that have success from a business or, I guess, a career point of view. But then when you look at the gaps in their life of what they're missing in relationships, connection, family support, you know, a lot of those areas are broken. And I don't think they see themselves as a success. They might be at the top of their career, you know, worth tens of millions, hundreds of millions, some of these people, but they're not seeing their life as being satisfactory because they're lacking those elements. But I think if you have those elements, you don't need everything else. I think that's the foundation for me, just based on observation of how I would define success.
Yeah, amazing. Really well said. Everyone I've spoken to, so obviously you're at the Apollo conference, anyone that's ever brought your name up to me, and you've met them in passing in a hallway conversation or whatever it is, has spoken so highly. They've said, he's so genuine, he's kind, he has time for people. And obviously, if we took it a business success, you're extremely successful in what you're doing in real estate. Has success changed you as a person?
I think it has. Yeah. I think I've changed as a person from when I was in my teenage years and the way I viewed the world. There was a different mindset around things than what I have today, and it sort of evolves as you go. I think as humans, the main item or the main thing we can give someone, the best and most precious thing we can give someone is your time. I think that there's no better gift than giving your time, whether that's me to my children or to my friends or to my industry peers. If I can give them my time and support them and lift them, it helps them. It gives me satisfaction. I enjoy it. You know, I've had lots of, I guess, challenges from a career point of view. I've had lots of failures. You mentioned the word triumph. Maybe there's a bit of triumph, but it started with a lot of failure. So I've been down in the ditches, you could say, psychologically, emotionally, financially. So I know if anyone's not performing at their best, how they feel and the questions they're asking themselves. So to be able to give to someone, whether you give them advice or you give them time or consideration, I think that's, for me, the most greatest gift you could give anyone. And time is the only thing you can't buy more of. You know, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you could be very successful in business and own all the material assets in the world, but that person cannot get an extra second in their life. So that's the only commodity that doesn't matter how much money you have, you cannot get more of. Anything else you could ask for more of, and as long as you've got enough in terms of financial backing, you can achieve it, but not time. And time every day is shortening. So it's very precious to me, and I'm learning that as I get older. I'm in my 40s, almost mid-40s now, and yeah, views have changed, but to be able to give to someone is a privilege to me. I enjoy it. I actually have a theory that there's a flow state, that if you can build someone up, if you can improve their life, whether it's a real estate agent that I'm helping with advice or it's a client that I'm trying to get a good outcome for, if I can add value to them, I think the universe works in a very mysterious way that it will repay you in multiples. And this is a theory that I've held for many years, and I believe it's true. I can't explain it. It's a bit esoteric or spiritual.
Sure. Yep.
But I do believe that once you give to someone and you lift them up and you help them and improve them, there's this invisible force that says, hey, this person is adding value to the collective. There is synergy in having them here. So we want to make sure they stay here. It's the same that would apply that if you are taking from people constantly, using, abusing, you're stripping away from the collective.
Yep.
And the universal law is that person is not really good for the system, for the ecosystem. So there's some of that stuff is probably getting a bit too spiritual, but they're just my theories. And
I love it. I love it. Very interesting. In your downtime, you're quite a thinker, I'd imagine. You're quite...
Too much.
Outside of real estate, where do you go?
I love nature, so if I had to go anywhere, it's outdoors,
Yeah.
Whether it's the beach, whether it's out in the bush, rainforest, bushwalks. I want to get out in the sun. I want to earth myself barefoot, connect with nature. I have strange theories about these things. It's probably a bit too crazy. I'm a bit too alternative. I even believe that the more you connect with nature, the better you will be as a human.
Yep.
That's what I believe in. So I try and connect myself as much as I can, and I try and influence my children to do so, to the point of tree hugging. Like, I actually believe that there's benefits in that.
Yep.
And there is science to back this stuff.
Yep.
There's actually a molecule that trees give off that they found out has increased lifespan and health span in humans. So there is this, I guess, relationship of synergy between human and environment that we've been disconnected from in our current living. And I think going back to that is the right direction.
I totally agree, and I absolutely love this conversation. I would like to think I'm a fairly grounded individual. At times I get stress gets a hold of me, and I go, just relax, life's good, just come on. There's people, worse off than what I am. Same, I was at the Gold Coast the other day, and we made a 15-minute walk to get to the beach so I could put my feet on it and just go, oh, gee, it feels good. I feel like I'm connecting to something, whatever this is, it feels good. And I think in this day-to-day, in this busy life, and I can imagine what yours is like, that it's important to find that groundedness and to connect with whatever we need to connect with so we can keep doing what we're doing, enjoy our life. I think we can get encapsulated in our busyness and making money and building a huge business that sometimes we can let go of the things that are actually more important, and it's what everything is around us.
They are. I agree with you, mate. Yeah, perfectly said.
I'll bring you back to business. Obviously, you've grown through McGrath for many years, and I think John said it perfectly the other day. He said, you're only going to, excuse me if I butcher this, but...
I wasn't there for that speech. So,
True.
So you can say anything, I'll believe it.
What you've done up until now has got you to where you are, is what you said.
Yep.
And nothing is going to change. You're not going to improve unless you do something different about it. And I when he said that, I was like, that's absolutely brilliant. I said, that's absolutely perfect. And if I was to relate to my situation, it's the same. Everything I've done to this point has got me to here. So then now what am I going to change? For you, I'd love to ask, where's the next thing?
The next thing is probably not business orientated as such for me. I would love to continue on this path in terms of what we're doing at work within my team. And it is a team structure. I need to emphasize that because a lot of attention gets given to the lead agent, like, oh, you're so good and what a hero the lead agent is. But the reality is strip away the team behind that person and the lead agent will crumble to nothing, which is what I would become. So the team is pivotal to anything that I achieve. We would love to continue collectively to do what we're doing, achieve what we're achieving in our lives, for our families. But from a goal orientation point of view, my focus is probably more directed towards health, which there's a few issues that I have that I need to manage. So more focus on health, more focus on time with my children is something I really need to improve on. I don't think I've done the best at that. I think I've been too distracted and too absent as a parent, with my work being somewhat of an addiction, you could say. It sort of becomes your self-identity, and then you sort of work rather than live. So I would like to see more balance there, more time with my children, more focused time, taking them away one-on-one individually and really connecting with them. They're things that get me excited. The goals in terms of business, I don't want to be sitting here and saying I've achieved it all, because I don't feel like I'm at anywhere. It's a journey that'll never end. But I'm not orientated from that point of view. I want to get from this much GCI to this much GCI. That's not even a thought. I would like to continue to build market share within the demographic and geographic spaces that we target. And as a natural byproduct, that market share will then give us the incomes and revenues that come with it. But that's not the focus. I think if I had to look forward, continue to do what we do, serve the community, build our market share, but we don't want to let go of this opportunity. We think it's very special. But from a personal point of view, it's more family, children, health, nature, balance. These are the things that I visualize, and they give me joy when, particularly if I'm at a challenging point in a day. Like sometimes, I have ups and downs. People think that when you achieve something, you're at the top and everything's sweet. And the reality is it's not. The same fears and anxieties that I had 10, 15 years ago, I still experience those in different ways. And when I get to that point, I visualize what gives me joy. And it's my connection with my family, my children. I'm going to go home and play with my son. And that's what gives me. So that's what I'd like to do more of.
Amazing. Do you think that leads to you eventually sort of limiting your selling, actually yourself, and passing it on to your team to look after, and you, I guess, guiding?
Yeah, that's the intention. I mean, it's a job I've done for 25 years, 6 days a week, 60 to 70 hours a week, nights and public holidays and all sorts. So there's a lot of sacrifice that has to come with that. And it's not a one-man band, because when you have a family behind you, they need to be supportive of this. There's a lot of sacrifices they're making. I haven't gone and watched my children play their sports on Saturdays because I have inspections. I've got commitments and obligations. That's a sacrifice that they have to be willing to accept to be able to provide the lifestyle that I do. But that's not always the right way of looking at it either. All of these nice things that we have in life and provide to them, if I'm not there to give them my time and attention and be present, then I'm lacking probably the most foundational aspect of that connection, which I have guilt about still to this day, and I'm trying to rebalance. But in terms of my future, I would love to be less involved as a sales agent in 5-10 years' time, whenever that sort of works out, and have my team take over. Maybe there's a new lead agent that rises up and has their own structure. I can be there from the sidelines, whether it's in a guidance, coaching, supportive role. That's probably my future, looking more in advance, like 5-10 years' time. That's where I'd like it to be. So then I can be present with my children. I can go to the Saturday games, and that's what I'm working to achieve. Yeah, amazing. I think presence is just the most underrated ability, is to be present. And in this game of real estate, and I'm more so in media, but I lead in the growth here at AKG. You see how everyone can become overstressed, and they worry about little things. And I think being present is probably the most important thing that we can master for me. Psychologically, I've done a lot of education, I suppose, on myself to get myself right, so that I can have conversations with people like yourself and be grounded in the moment and not be stressed out and go, oh my God, what if this happens? Or what if I do this? Or, that past and future problems, which aren't real. Yeah, it's a lot of mindset, Dan. So we create fears in our mind as to what could go wrong, and 80-something% of them, according to the research, never eventuates. So it's a state of fear that we create as an illusion. It's not even a reality. We make it a reality based on our visualization and our perspective, and it just puts more pressure and stress on us than we need. It's really difficult to disconnect from that, though. It takes practice. It takes, for some people, for me, meditation, to learn to be more mindful. And when I have those feelings rise, because they do, they come and you sort of, I feel a bit awkward or uncomfortable about this, I've got to quickly remedy that with different thoughts and theories. So it's a practice that I think through life you have to continue. But I agree with you. It's in this industry, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. It's very performance based. Your next deal is uncertain. In most other industries, you get a salary, you know what you're going to earn. There's a bit of comfort there that, hey, I'll go 9 to 5 and I'll get paid what I have agreed to get paid. Whereas real estate, every day is uncertain. You don't know what you're going to get. You've got to reap what you sow, so to speak. And that creates a level of anxiety that sometimes is difficult to deal with.
Do you think it's this part of this mindset that you're talking to me about now, which has helped with the breakthrough of your career?
I think so. I mean, there's probably a lot of elements that have assisted in growth. Mindset's vital, though. Mindset is a number of layers, the way you deal with problems. For me, one of the most important personality traits that you can have in this industry is emotional resilience. That would be up there in the top 2 or 3. Because you're going to have things that go wrong. It's guaranteed to go wrong. Consistently, forever. There is no business that I'm aware of that has perfect days, 5 days, 6 days a week, and everything is sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. It just doesn't happen. So it's going to go wrong. The question is then, what is your reaction? How do you react to it? Because ultimately, the governing factor is your reaction. It's the stimulus is there. It's going to happen. What's your response? And if you can control that response, I think you'll have an easier journey through life.
Where have you learnt these skills? Is there micro moments in life that you find this is my moment to practice these certain things?
I haven't invented anything. It's through lots of reading, lots of listening, following people who I admire and like the way they live and what they say. Through those teachings, I've taken bits and pieces. Some of it I intuitively felt and knew or practiced before I heard it. Others I heard and went, wow, that sounds amazing. And over time, you sort of accumulate little things from different people. You take the best bits from everyone and you put it into a package that serves you. So that's the way I guess it's happened for me. None of it is my own stuff. Some of it I've sort of taken and tweaked, but it's all come from others. So I've just watched, observed, listened, learnt, and then implemented and actioned.
Yeah, amazing. I have little things that I do in life to help me with these things where I will say certain things that I typically out of the norm, out of my typical cycle of things that I would say, and I would say them to someone I don't know. And I would just see their reaction and just see if they look at me like this guy's a bit strange, or that was quite funny, or he made me laugh, or just get that reaction and go, okay, tick or cross. And sometimes I walk away going, oh no, why did I say that? That was insane. But I love it. I love what you're saying. I think it makes a lot of sense. If we could go marketing, if we can. I've seen your stuff and you're very clean and classy and sophisticated. I think you've got some amazing properties which you're showcasing, which probably helps on social media. I see you use Elizabeth Tilley a lot and Andrew Cummings from Brisbane Agent, which those two do an amazing job. How important is that for you, do you think? Are you using them to help you showcase and create a greater audience?
Yeah,
or
to a degree, mate. I mean, branding is vital in this industry.
Yeah.
Whether you look at personal branding or business branding, we are in a profile-driven business. And if you can build a profile of credibility, integrity, I think your business will flourish. The agents that I see doing well are all high-profile agents. And I've said this before, there's a lot of highly skilled agents without profile that are just not getting the opportunities. So you have to learn how to brand yourself. John's book, You Inc., is probably something that some listeners can look into. That talks about it quite directly. But without your own personal brand attached to your business brand, it's really hard to build what I think is the most effective model, which is the attraction agent model. So using others like Elizabeth Tilley or Andrew Cummings, they've got a strong social media following. They've got credibility within the industry. They expose the client's property to a wider audience. And for that, we get some benefit in terms of inquiry, increased buyer activity, potentially more offers. So the reason we partner up with them is we see them as leaders in what they do. And they've got, for me, a strong business following, which will then benefit the client. So that's the benefit of partnering up with people like that.
Yeah, sure. And if we're talking personal branding, obviously you're here today on this podcast. I've seen you do a few other podcasts and you're starting to put your face out there a lot more, I would assume. From what I've researched, you were probably on it a lot, not so much. and now we're seeing you a bit more so.
Yeah, I've been reluctant to do much of this stuff for a while. Bailey, who manages my social media from 23rd Street, who is a guru at this stuff, has been saying to me for years, get yourself on camera, give me some more videos. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. But I haven't focused on it. I did at the beginning more, and that got me some exposure and credibility and built some profile. Then the business started to grow and build, and I thought, okay, I'm cool. I don't really need to do that.
Sure.
But it's a part of the business that I've reluctantly come back into.
Okay.
I don't know why. It's just I don't like putting myself out there. I'm fairly private. I used to be private. I've become pretty public now. I didn't even have a social media account when I joined McGrath. I refused Facebook and Instagram. Right. So I was one of those people.
Yeah.
But I had to from a business point of view. And I think it's important that the consumer gets to know you personally. So I think there's a business benefit that comes from putting yourself out there. As long as it's your authentic self, because often in our industry, there seems to be an element of facade that people feel like they have to portray in order to bring the success. And I never found that to be effective. I think the authentic self is the most credible person that's going to get business. Actually, there was a research done recently that it was about the highest frequency vibration.
Yep.
And it was authenticity came above love and all the other stuff, which I found interesting. So I think from a business point of view, getting yourself out there, branding yourself, video content's important. Anytime you put a face on a social post, the engagement level's higher, the likes are higher, the comments are higher. All of these things help build your profile, and that's something that I have started to come back into.
Yep.
Not directly myself. It's taken others to do it for me. So, people have reached out and said, do a podcast.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, thanks. Can you send me the clips? Okay, cool. We've got it now. So Bailey, I've done it. He's like, no, you didn't do it, mate. The other people did it.
Yep.
So, but I think it's important that I have to do some of that, because it's also industry. People like to hear others that have failed and then had some success. That's a story that I wish I heard early in my career, because I almost quit in 2011. I almost gave up. But if I heard someone else's story that had been in it for a long time and failed and then succeeded, there would have been more hope and more belief for me to continue, which luckily I stayed, but I was about to exit this industry.
I'm looking forward to seeing if we see more of Alex Jordan in his house videos and more podcasts and the number one agent in McGrath, what that does for your career ongoing. If we're talking the next 5 years, potentially does that create even more attraction to your business because people have seen your face over and over and over and over again?
Yeah, possibly. I guess it depends on what the content appears like too, because, if I do things differently to who I am, I don't think that would work well for me. I think it could backfire.
True.
There are behaviours within our industry that I think are not well received. It's completely the opposite of how I want to be portrayed in this industry, but there seems to be a belief system or some sort of, I guess, conceptual theories that if you have a nice watch and drive a nice car and go on these beautiful holidays, that people would look at you and go, wow, this guy's awesome, I want to work with them, or I think they're amazing. I don't think the consumer or the audience sees it that way.
Yeah.
I think we are not loved as an industry. You looked at the trust rankings of real estate agents. I think we came in with prostitutes, politicians, and what else was there? There was used car salesmen, real estate agents, and we're in that 4 bottom pile. So, and there's a lot of people struggling today. This is really important. Like even today, I look at a lot of economic indicators. I love that stuff. I'm passionate about it. Watching the stock market. We are in a difficult time in terms of our economics. There's a lot of people struggling financially. 5% of households are under mortgage stress. The RBA Governor, Michelle Bullock, came out last night and said, if you're unable to meet your obligations with your debt, with your interest rates, you might need to consider selling, because we're still trying to control inflation. So there's a lot of people that are financially in a hard place. And when they see the industry, I guess people put stuff out there like, look at me in Greece and look at my new, $100,000 watch and my new Ferrari and Lamborghini. It is just cringe for me. It's like, dude, we're not liked. Don't be proud of these things. These are all material things. They've got no essence.
Yes.
You're not building a brand of integrity or authenticity. It's a lot of ego, and ego needs to be filtered out to a degree, because I think it's limiting people's success.
Well said. I totally agree with you, and it's a mantra I push a lot, is in all of the videos that we do for all of our agents, is can we put the cars away and the watches away and let's just be people and let's be relatable to everyone out there. If we look at the suburbs that AKG specialises in, a lot of that Logan area, and if we were to come out to, let's just say Logan Central in a Ferrari, people look at you and go, I don't like you as a human and you are everything that everyone thinks you are.
Yeah. It's a barrier. I think you've got to align yourself with your community, and it will vary depending on what area you're in. But there is no area on this planet that you need to drive a Ferrari or Lamborghini to be successful. You could be in the highest end market in the country, in Sydney, eastern suburbs, Double Bay, those sort of high-end areas, which I'm not that familiar with, but have heard all these special names, Vaucluse and all that. But I don't think you even need to be driving a car of that caliber in that area. So it's not needed. It's not looked at with any sort of, I guess, element of respect from the right people. Maybe some people look at it and go, wow, cool, but I don't think that's your target audience.
Yep.
So it's something I think we need to readjust from an industry point of view, so we're not looked at as this sort of high ego, abrasive, slick, fast-talking, commission-breath sales agent.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them aren't. A lot of them are very good practitioners, people that give advice selflessly to help others. And that's the reputation that we hope to be able to evolve to, so we then rank much higher in that sort of trust rating within this country.
A thought leader like yourself, maybe more so, could lead that charge.
Yeah, there's a few out there. John speaks to
Yes.
that. Tom Panos speaks to it. A number of agents that I've heard of speaking to it. So I think if some of the industry leaders or the high performers have that approach, have that level, I guess, of idea and implement that and portray that, then others will follow. That's the pattern.
Do you think there's a level of materialism required to be successful as a real estate agent? If you were to arrive at a listing in a Honda Civic, are you taken seriously, do you think?
I do think you're taken seriously.
Yep.
I mean, look, you can't say that that's a blanket approach for everyone. There are people that have different ways of thinking. You might go to someone who is quite opinionated, maybe also is quite flamboyant and thinks that only successful people can deal with their property, and if you don't drive a good enough car, then you're cut out. I don't know if that's this person that you have to do business with, maybe. Like,
Sure.
you make a decision at that point. But even myself, I wouldn't say I'm selling high-end property, but it's probably mid to high-end, between 2 million and 10 million is sort of the average sale price. And I think if I had a Honda Civic, which I did for many years,
Nice.
and a Honda Accord, I like those cars, mate. They were very reliable. Japanese cars, always more reliable than Europeans.
Yeah.
I don't think it would limit my business.
Yeah.
I would not be embarrassed to drive it. I actually enjoy sometimes when my car goes for service and I get a sort of a basic model,
Yep.
little hatchback. I love that. I don't know. I actually enjoy it, and I go in and I park it proudly, and I have no embarrassment towards it, because I don't want to be looked at as this guy's got lots of money and drives
Yep.
these fancy cars. So I actually prefer to be judged on a more equal level than trying to be put up in a hierarchy system. So I don't think it disadvantages you. You could have any car, and if you feel that your car is sort of inferior to your ability, if you're driving a beaten up ute,
Yep.
and you're going into a $5 million home to appraise it, well, okay, don't park your car in front of their house. I never park my car in front of anyone's house.
Okay.
Number one rule. Open houses, my car is parked as far as you can from the property as possible.
Yep.
I walk to the open from the car. Might take me 3 or 5 minutes, but I don't want anyone to look at my car being parked right in the front, taking the space that the buyer would want to
Sure.
park, and then making it harder for them to get into the home. So even my team, I have to coach this all the time. Guys, park your car far away. Don't park in front. The old school way of parking your car in the driveway, and for me, it's a little bit too much. That's just my theory. You're taking space away from the consumer who wants to get easy access to the property. Leave it for them. Leave all the easy parks in front of the house for them. But if you're embarrassed about your car, I think there's 2 ways of handling that. One is you hide it, which I don't think is the best approach, but that might give you more comfort. The other is you, hand on heart, explain your situation. To say, apologies for my old car, it's a bit dinged up. I'm getting it fixed next week. I'm still saving to upgrade it. Be hand on heart. People want to deal with authentic people.
Yeah.
You don't have to be successful or rich to get the real estate listing. Because I've got a lot of listings without ever a car. I didn't have a car. I was catching buses and trains to get to work, and borrowing the van, the work sign van, to get to appointments. So no, I don't think you need anything like that to be successful, but you need to have a level of authenticity in your communication
Yep.
that can cover you in that situation.
I think the people that do it really well, and when we look at people who are cold calling as a real estate agent too, the ones that can actually just be a person and just have a conversation rather than being this typical real estate agent who, I feel like at times people feel like they put their tie on, their suit really tight, and just start talking like a real estate agent on the phone. It's like, oh my God, just relax and just ask them how their day's going, firstly, and just be a human being.
It's sort of a identity thing. I think you feel like you have to act in a certain manner.
Yep.
But ultimately, I think it's got to be peeled away. This is a human-to-human interaction. Whether you're dealing with a tenant, a buyer, a seller, it's the same person at a different stage of their life. And if you can have a conversation with them as if you would to your friend or family member without an agenda to try and win their business or anything, but add value to them, give them something of substance that benefits them as you walk away. I think if you have that intention, somehow you'll get paid back in multiples. That's my experience.
The universe will come back to you.
I believe that.
Quickly, AI.
Yeah.
You talked human to human. We're heading into a new age where robots are taking over, some would say.
Yeah.
It's probably having more so of an influence, and people are suggesting in real estate, ChatGPT is massive. It's developing. There's new AI tools in our prospecting. It's all happening. Where do you see AI fitting into real estate over the next 5 to 10 years?
I think AI will change the way we live over the next 5 to 10 years. And it's going to have a greater impact than what we assume so far. This is not too dissimilar to the internet when it came back decades ago, came into the world, and it was this new thing. And then suddenly today, look at the world where it is today. I think AI is going to create lots of unemployment, to be honest. I think the manufacturing side of things will become robotic. I mean, today there are robots that have been built. They cost a lot to do, but they can clean your home. So I think in 10 years, maybe they become more affordable. The cleaner might be phased out and you have a full-time robot that does your cleaning. The way they teach these robots, I was watching some of this stuff, is they actually take them into a room. These are robots, humanoids, they can walk and sit and stuff. And they take them to a room, they sit them in a classroom, and they put a video on. This is how you wash dishes. And the robots watch the video and go, okay, that's how you do it. And they know forever. And the thing is, they never sleep, these things. So they're there the whole time, 24/7.
Yep.
I find it a bit weird. I spoke to my wife about this. If we had a robot cleaner, how would we feel in the house?
Do you say hello?
Yeah, I don't know. Are they going to sit on the sofa with their eyes open all night, just sitting there? It's freaky. I don't know.
Drop something, they clean it up.
Yeah, straight away. But I think that's the way the world is headed. I think unemployment will increase as a natural byproduct. I think real estate will change to a degree. I haven't figured out the landscape, but I don't think every agent is safe in their role. I think if you're not someone that can connect emotionally, this is where emotion comes in, I believe, which the robots at this stage don't have, but they're becoming sentient beings, so we'll see what happens there. But I think if you can create an emotional connection, a relationship of trust, it surpasses AI to a degree for now.
Yes.
Maybe in 10 years, that's going to be harder to achieve. I think the value of products will come down because of the manufacturing process. If you're taking away the 8-hour-a-day employee and replacing it with a 20-hour robot that you pay once for and you hold them until you service them for their lifespan, well, the manufacturing process is going to become a lot more efficient and economical.
Yep.
So I think product prices will come down, but they'll need to come down because unemployment will go up and people will have less money to be able to afford these things. And this is Elon Musk, about the need for maybe a universal income. And he's not a socialist or communist in his thinking philosophy, but he sees the world heading into that direction to a point where there's going to be so much unemployment that we're going to have a universal base income to be able to meet the needs of the masses. It's a scary time. There's excitement because it's change, and with change comes excitement, but it's a worry as well. I think real estate agents for now are safe. Copywriters might not be so much, and marketing side of things can become systemized and AI generated. Agents eventually can easily be phased out, I think, in future. Today, it's hard to say that. In 10 years, the pace at which these things are moving is beyond comprehension. So in 10 years, we could see a humanoid agent that represents the property, has a much higher skill level than any agent, knows every sale, every land size, everything about the home, neighbour's property that no agent could learn. We can't compete on an intellectual level, but they can't compete on an emotional level. So I think that's where the business needs to be won.
It is a scary time, and I do see AI, or businesses that don't use AI, promoting that they don't use AI, and that's their business sell, is we have no robots and we're only human, and we're coming back to the old school like the world does, goes back in loops, like the 80s fashion comes back.
It would actually be a point of difference. I think once we go AI, the consumer will get sick of dealing with a robotic, non-human person or whatever you want to call this entity. Then the point of difference is that you're a real person having real conversations. And personally, I would rather deal with a human than a robot, regardless of what I'm doing. But it'll get to a point where that may change. Scary, mate.
Alex, I thank you so much for your time. This has been very insightful. I'm going to leave you here today with this so many knowledge bombs I think we've just spoken about. I could continue talking about your spirituality and everything that you're doing outside of real estate. It's very, very interesting. And it's a different chat that I've had to a lot of other people who are very driven in their business success, which go for it, absolutely go to you. And I think it's really great to see someone who's had this amazing success and is looking to bring them back to their roots, I suppose. Something I look up to. So
it's very kind, mate. Thank you.
Alex, thanks so much for coming to the podcast.
Pleasure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.